I can pinpoint the exact moment when my childhood came to an end. I was in a small town in southwestern Michigan. There was Pam Hampton. And me, a burst of sexual energy, and then, bam. Childhood? Over. And I blame it all on Mr. Stiffy. We all know of the societal norms which keep us away from taboo topics. Drugs, debt, sex and sexuality, politics, and religion. But when these topics are not discussed, it can lead to repression and confusion. While we often struggle to find their meanings, without the conversations, we are underwater in our understanding. The Undertaker's Daughter by Jeffrey Rudell. Now, in many ways, I was a typical teenager in that I was completely uncomfortable in my own body. I had made it through the physical trials of puberty, but you see the emotional hurdles? Yeah, they were proving a little more daunting. Pam, on the other hand, was completely comfortable in her own body. So much so that halter tops and hip huggers were her uniform all throughout high school. Dress code be damned. She was a bit of a rebel, she said the F word a lot. And she was what my grandmother referred to in very hushed tones as a bad girl from a good home. And I, of course, felt an affinity for her from the start. Any one of Pam's bad behaviors would have been sufficient to get her expelled were it not for two things. One, she was president of the Honor Society, and two, her father was president of the school board. He also happened to be our town's local undertaker. His name was Howard, and Howard would have preferred the term funeral director, but nobody called him that. All us kids just called him Mr. Stiffy. Now, I decided I had to have sex. And to my way of thinking, the most likely candidate was Pam. And I vowed to not give up till she was mine. Now understand, from Pam's point of view, it was not love. As she put it, well, you're cute enough, and you're not always trying to get in my pants. You're probably a fag, but you do have a car. Truth be told, I wasn't very comfortable touching her. I wasn't even very comfortable touching myself. So no, I would have to wait for her to take the lead when it came to sex, but that's what bad girls were for. Pam was going to take me and my best friend Kevin and his girlfriend Joni on a tour of her father's funeral home on midnight on Halloween. Ostensibly, her reason was to give us all a fright. Secretly. I thought that with her parents out of town, her plan was to initiate me into the mysteries of sex with a partner. At 11 o'clock, I met up with Kevin and Joni to get ready, by which I mean to get drunk. Kevin was drinking Schlitz beer, Joni was drinking slow gin, and I was drinking Artles and Jane's wine coolers. Because it tastes good. So at 11:45, we rang the bell on the side entrance, and Pam let us in. The lights were off, and she was carrying a flashlight. She led us down a hallway and through the back door, and then finally into the preparation lab, where her father did all of his work. It's not nearly as big as I thought it would be. The slab, she called it. Clearly, she was in her element, playing the badass to our sort of overly nervous newbies. She finally comes to a stop in front of 4 stainless steel cooler doors. And she positions the flashlight kind of shining up like this under her face. The effect is ghoulish, but yeah, I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at her breasts, which are clearly visible through her shirt. So now this sounds stupid, but we were in a funeral home, but We didn't expect there would be a corpse. Pam, meanwhile, smells the fear on us. She hands Joni the flashlight. She opens the door and she rolls out a body. It was a guy. And it was close enough for me to reach out and to touch if I wanted to. And I did want to. I was repulsed by it, but at the same time, I was compelled by it. We stood there for a second, and the strangest thing happened. I started to get aroused. Oh my God. Oh my God. What is wrong with me? You know, I look up and I see Pam, and I'm like, okay, calm down. She's not wearing a bra. Dead body. Her parents are out of town. You have the whole place to yourself. Dead body. Keep your eyes on Pam. You'll be fine. Dead body. You'll find out what to do with those breasts. Dead body. So I'm going back and forth, and I look up and I see Pam, and she's sort of smiling as she says, "Let us pray." She puts her hands out over the body, and she says, "O Lord of darkness, Prince of strife, undo all of God's bitter work, and bring this man back to life." Now, she later explained to the police she hadn't meant for it to happen. It had just happened. Her arms had fallen and hit the body just below the ribcage, forcing whatever air was still in it up, out the esophagus, and across the vocal cords. Kevin, who had been full of Schlitz, shit his pants and fell backwards into the ground. Joni, who had been mid-gulp, spit a mouthful of sloe gin onto the sheets, turning them red. Pam, seeing the red and thinking of blood, was horrified at what she might have just done and threw up all over the body. I see the blood and the vomit, and I wake up 45 minutes later in the hospital with 3 stitches in my tongue where I'd bitten it when I fainted. We each got 1 year probation and 3 months of community service. Pam broke up. She had been grounded for life, so the fact I had a car was of little use to her any longer. Worst of all, the next day, Mr. Hampton took each of us back down into that room, pulled back that sheet, and showed us that body. Without question, it excited me. After graduation, I went off to college, and I took the memory of that body with me through the eventual loss of my virginity, and a few confused and mildly successful relationships with women, up to a relationship with a man. A man. A man! I'm not a necrophiliac! I'm a homosexual. I am happy to report that my interest in dead bodies went out the side door the minute I came out the closet door. Pam went on to business school and married a very handsome man. And every October on Halloween, I get a business card, unsigned, that simply says, "Bleh."